Hello everyone.
Welcome to the Spirit Lounge podcast with me, David.
And me, Glenda.
And we are psychic mediums from both sides of the pond.
I'm in Australia.
And I'm in the UK.
And we're joining forces to discuss and talk about the world of psychics, mediumship, and all things spiritual. We might even throw some random life topics in there too.
So come with us now on our podcast journey. Let's see what's happening in the Spirit Lounge for today's episode. Well, hello listeners, and thank you very much for tuning in to the podcast today. I'm here as always with my co-pilot, Glenda, over there in Australia. Hello, Glenda.
Hello, David, and hello, listeners, and thank you for tuning in to Spirit Lounge this week.
Absolutely, and thank you very much also for tuning in to the previous episodes, because we've received lots of really nice feedback and comments from our listeners. So we're really hoping that you're enjoying the episodes so far, as we are enjoying recording them as well. And we've also got some other fabulous guests coming up in the podcast as well. So do keep listening and coming along with us on our podcast journey. But for today's episode, Glenda, what are we talking about today?
Well, David, I've been thinking, and I feel we should talk about our challenges within our work. And we can throw in life and all that sort of stuff that goes with it, because, you know, we are human and this work is our life. And it's so important and part of who we are. Our self-doubt. So maybe being a little bit vulnerable today, and also disappointments.
Oh, interesting.
Which I know. And I also thought about it this afternoon as I was chatting to my girlfriend. I wasn't going to, but jealousy.
Oh, controversial.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, like, let's get down to business. Let's get a little bit vulnerable. Let's get into revealing a little bit about ourselves. Everyone says they want to get to know us better, and this is what it's about. This is about our beliefs, the way that we flow, what we feel, not anybody else. And, you know, we're not judging anybody else, but this is our journey. And I'm excited about it because it's something, this podcast is something a little bit different. Like I said before, we can only share so much on social media, but you get to see the backstory on this podcast, or hear the backstory of it. So, you know, sometimes it's not all glitz and glamour that people think. And, you know,
that's for sure.
one of the other thing is I see so many people stepping into this, which is fantastic. And I want to say fantastic if you're doing it for the right reasons. If you think that you can come in and be a psychic medium and do a weekend course and do a course here and there and make heaps of money, sweetheart, it's not what it's about.
No, absolutely. And I've actually have heard that story. Someone at my church once said that she was chatting to a couple of girls who were developing, in inverted commas, as psychics or mediums, and she said, okay, so why are you doing it? And said, we just need a bit of extra money, so we thought we'd give it a go. The complete wrong attitude to have.
Absolutely.
For huge disappointment, unless you're conning people, if you think you're going to make loads of money out of it. But and
it's
true story.
And the thing is, it's not about making loads of money, otherwise we'd all be millionaires. And
absolutely,
a lot of the people that put in the work, and, you know, I see you and Bill constantly, you know, going from church service to church service, driving kilometers and hours away, you know, after you've done your day jobs. And it's a lot of hard work. It is such dedication and hard work, you know. The emotional effects that it has on us, people don't understand, you know, like a lot of people come to us for guidance. A lot of people come to us because they're grieving, because they're struggling, they've lost their way, they don't know which direction to go in. And it's not about, I just want a psychic hit. I tell me what's happening tomorrow. I'm not about that, and neither are
No,
you.
I'm not interested in
So
that.
that's the shallow side of it. It's about finding your way when you've lost it.
Mm,
And we've both heard some really hard hitting stories that people have
yeah,
come to us, um, in the way that they've lost their loved ones, what they've gone through, like some health challenges, all of that sort of stuff. That is really hard. And we, in a type of way, are kind of like little counselors, if you can say that, like,
yeah, absolutely.
and this comes with the job. You have to be able to help people through their situation, or in
Mm,
that time that you're with them,
yeah,
is to actually empower them and make them feel better about what's going on in their life, because they're going through a really shit situation right now. Some
yeah,
people have lost multiple people, and all in a really short period of time.
hmm,
And that's hard. How
yeah,
do you understand? How do you wrap your head around just losing mum and dad within a couple of months of each other, plus a brother, and throw in your dog as well, lose
yeah,
your job as well? How do you look forward? It's
mm,
freaking hard. It's not easy. And our job is to somehow reconnect them with their loved ones in the
yeah,
work that we do. We do that. We bring
hmm,
through the love and the support that they need. It's also to help them look forward, in their
yeah,
life, because life is freaking tough. What do you
hmm.
think, David?
No, I agree, and it's being able to have the empathy, which I think is what we're
Yes,
looking for, to be
that's
able to
it.
help those people. Because if you're going into it for the wrong reasons, because you want to earn the extra money, then the empathy is not there because you're looking for something else, just to make a
Yeah,
quick buck. Whereas if you're going into it for the right reasons, with the right training and whatever else, no, you should. It's a funny thing to say. We should learn the ethics. I don't think you should learn ethics. I think you should know them, because to me,
that's right.
ethics are common sense. To me, especially doing
Yeah,
this job, like you'd expect a carer or a doctor or a nurse to have certain ethics. I don't think you need to train in ethics. I do. If I do teach people doing a course, I do bring ethics into it, because unfortunately, not everyone does seem to have the common sense to bring ethics into the work and morals and values, which is what this work needs. And as you say, if you're dealing with someone who's going through that, I know I've had a student, and she still follows me. She lost 16 people in a space of a year,
yeah. See,
and you can't just go into a reading and deal with that person all willy nilly and da, 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 da. No, you have to bring in that empathy, that compassion, because that person needs to feel that or hear that or what have you. And if you don't
yeah,
have those things, then that could end up leading to that person feeling very distressed, or um, not damaged is probably the wrong words, but it's not going to help them through their grieving process, because they've not necessarily felt the support behind it to get through it. So it's a really important message, Glenda. What you've been talking about is really have been able to um, get on the same level as people, and
yeah,
to show that empathy and compassion, because that's what we're here to do. Although, yes, we're not counsellors. Unless you are a trained counsellor, there probably are people who are trained in counselling who do this work as well. Um, but it's going into it with no judgment, I suppose, is probably another word to put on it.
that's e- exactly right. And having that and compassion and empathy, and the hurt and the grief that comes with life, that
Yeah.
comes with what you've gone through in life.
Mm,
So, unless you've been there and felt that, and, you know, come out the other end, you don't know what that feels like for a person.
yeah.
It is
Yeah.
someone that's just lost their child. How you can't come in to a reading just looking for a quick buck. It's not about that. It's about holding space for that person to be able to be vulnerable, to be able
Mm,
to, you know, let their guard down and be themselves without judgment. So that also brings me to the challenges that we face within our readings, within life. And you know what? We're not immune just because we're mediums to the shit that goes on in life.
Yeah.
We also have grief. We also deal with the crap that people put on us, just like everybody else, because we're here having a human experience. We've got to learn our life lessons as well. And as much as we want to believe the best in people, and we do that, and, you know, I'm very vulnerable in that way because I try to go against myself and my beliefs sometimes when I know that someone is just about to fuck me over. And I go, no, you know, I want to prove myself wrong. And yet again, you
Yeah.
get slapped in the face. So guess what, people? It still happens to us. Even though we're psychic, we still pick up on it. We still ignore it because we want to believe the best in people.
Yeah.
And it still happens. So we have our challenges as well. We have our challenges within our readings. You know, some people aren't as open as other people. Some energies don't align exactly with ours. Spirit energy is also different. So combine the three different energies there. We have to find some sort of middle ground to do a reading.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to keep going back to little Betty that comes through with her arms crossed, not giving you an inch, and just doing the yep, nah. I'm sorry, but that's not the way it flows with the reading. And if you were booking with me, I'd end that reading with you straight away.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. You
No.
have to come in with an open mind. And I understand that some people are anxious and they're not relaxed. And if you're a good reader, you're going to pick that up and you're going to be able to relax that person, even if it's like, okay, just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths.
Yeah.
So there is a certain amount of responsibility, I think, that is needed for people that come for a reading.
Oh, before any reading I do, I always set my expectations with people, and that is that the reading is about three people. It's me, those upstairs, and the person sat in front of me. And for that
Amen.
communication to flow, not correctly, it's probably the wrong word, but to flow more freely, to flow a bit better, more efficiently, yeah, more effectively, I suppose. All those three things need to work in tandem for that to happen. And I say to them, it's not, and I say this in a like platform public demonstration as well, is that you can never underestimate, or they can never underestimate the important role in which every audience member or sitter plays in the reading, whether it be a private reading or in an auditorium or a church or whatever, because they are also creating the energy which I will use and the spirit world will use in order for that communication to go as good as it can. And if someone is sat there in front of you with their arms folded, face like a smacked ass, then it's not going to go as well as they want it to go. And I think some people might come to test you, and I've got a story about that in a minute, to see what you can pick up. The first thing I'm going to say is, I'm not here to be tested. If you want to test someone, go and see somebody else. I'm not the one for you, basically.
Me too.
Because we're here doing a job, and it comes down to respect. If you're going to come and test me, then you're not showing me any kind of respect, or the spirit world any kind of respect either. And as you say, you've got to come with an open heart and an open mind. But I also think some people go to readings very careful about what they give away, and they don't want to speak in case they give something away. So let me just say this. By you interacting with me, based on what I've just said about those three things needing to work together, you're not giving anything away. You are simply communicating with me. You are just saying yes or no, or I'm not sure. And that's absolutely fine. we're not asking anybody to feed us information. As we know as mediums, we want to give the information that we're getting. We don't want to be fed, because that can just distort the message. At the end of the day, the less we know, the better the reading is, I think. So it's not about, oh, what am I going to give away to the medium? It's not about that. It's about going and communicating and having a conversation, because ultimately your spirit people want to communicate with you. They don't really want to talk to me, because I'm not their loved one. You're their loved one. I always call myself the puppet. They tell me what to say, my lips move, and whatever comes out, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a conversation they want to have with you. They want to hear your voice. It's no good sitting there going, You need to speak. You're born with a voice to use, so use it, especially in those
That's it.
readings. And that's what you need to do, because again, your loved one wants to speak to you. They want to hear your voice. They're not bothered about hearing mine. I'm just passing on the information. And so I think people just need to be aware of that, because that in itself is a challenge. You've got someone sat in front of you, believe me, who's got their arms folded, not giving much away. That's a huge challenge. And one of those times where you go, well, you know what, this is really not working here. And I don't want to
Yeah.
say to someone, this ain't working. I don't want to then have to go through the whole thing of refunding and suggesting somebody else and whatever else. So people need to come with a bit more of an open mind. And just to give that little story that just dropped in my head as we were talking about that. And people listening, this does really happen, and please don't be one of these people. So I have a friend who is who is a very well known psychic medium in the UK, and he was telling me a story of he was doing a private reading um, in a it was in a venue. It wasn't at his home. It was in a venue somewhere, and he was bringing through all this information. It's a very good medium, and the person just kept saying no, 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 no. Don't know about that. No, no, like one of those. And so I said, okay, it's obviously not working here. You're obviously not understanding. I'm doing something wrong. Have your money back and whatever. So finish the reading. Anyway, finished the reading, and he went to the kitchen area, and unbeknownst to this client, they were stood around the corner talking to their friends, and he overheard the person say, I understood every single thing that he said. I just said no to him just to test him. And so he heard that and went round and said, oh, really? I'll have that money then, please. What an asshole to do that. You can
Wow.
understand everything, but you've said no just to be an asshole, basically, is what you've done, what that
Yeah.
person's done there. So if that's you, don't come and see me, because it won't end nicely.
Oh, me
I
either.
think
I'll call it
that's such
quits.
a lack of respect there. And again, it's not just showing lack of respect for me; it's showing lack of respect for your spirit family ultimately, because they want to come and see you. They're not come to see me. They want to communicate with you.
Exactly.
So why would you want to turn them away?
Yeah.
So just remember that, people. I'm sure our
And
listeners, our lovely listeners, wouldn't do that, but there are people out there who do these kind of things.
yeah, and they do. And the thing is, we can tell when it's a no and when it's a yes. When you are communicating with spirit,
Mm,
you already know when you've interpreted it or you've said it wrong. You know.
yeah,
And as soon as it comes out your mouth, you know you've said it the wrong. You've said it the wrong. It's come out wrong. You just know. So when somebody says no, I will believe the spirit person before I believe the person in front of me. Okay, it is a yes. Have a good think about this, because it's very, very clear. The feeling that we get is very clear. I will always believe spirit over the person in front of me. And
I
I've
love
had
your
that proven.
confidence.
I
Sorry,
know.
Andy.
I have more confidence with spirit than I do with myself. So if I'm getting it from spirit, I know it's 100% right.
Yeah,
It's just sometimes the way that I deliver it. So if I get a no and I know it's a yes, I will then change the way I say it or deliver it in a different form, and it's always a yes. It's
yeah,
just that the person's not understanding it the way that I've brought it through. But I always know when I'm wrong. And I always say, hang on, just give me a moment. I'm going to give it back to them, because you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But talking about being tested, I've had a local reader pretend she was somebody else, try and come on and have a reading with me and act like she wasn't a reader, which I knew she was a reader. And you look like a real dick when you do that. So I have also other readers that reach out to me, but they have the decency to go, hey, Glenda, I'm wondering if it's okay for you to read for me. I respect that.
Yeah.
I don't respect.
Yeah.
I don't respect when you're being sly and you're being cheeky and you're trying to fly under the radar.
Yeah.
And then I do a reading for you and then I see you out on the street and you totally ignore me. That's being dodgy. I have no respect for that. But like me, if I was to get a reading from another reader, or not that I ever do, every now and then I'll jump on a live and depend who's reading or something, and we'll see what happens, and I'll get one. But even like I said, I had a reading with Sharon, which is Bill's sister. Again, the common decency of, hi Sharon, are you open to giving me a reading? I think that the respect of someone reaching out goes a long way. Than trying to be incognito or I'm not going to give her anything. It doesn't matter. David, you can sit in front of me today and you can come and present as John Black. Guess what? That doesn't change the people that I'm going to bring through for you.
No, exactly.
They still step forward. Doesn't matter who you are, what name you want to use, fake or whatever, you're still bringing their people through. It doesn't matter what name they've given you. And I'm reading your energy. I'm reading who you are as a person. So that's not fake either. So it doesn't matter what name you give me. I read what's in front of me. And we're talking about the yes and the no's or not speaking. It's amazing how much we pick up just from hearing your voice, because your voice has a vibration. And from your voice, how do you think people do telephone call readings? It goes by the voice vibration. You're picking up on that. So the more that you talk and the more you interact, and I always say to my people that come for a reading, this is the way we're doing a reading. It's like two friends having a chat, because I want you to feel relaxed. But at the end of the day, I want you to get the best out of your reading for the money that you've spent.
Yeah, exactly.
So challenges, yes, we do get our challenges. We also are challenged out of here. So if I go back to when I was challenged probably the most was when I was losing my mum. So this is how tapped into spirit we are, or a good medium is. I can be on the phone 5 minutes before I have to jump on a Zoom and do a reading, and I've just had to call an ambulance because my mum's had a fall. She doesn't know where she is. I have to call an ambulance. That is high stress because I don't know the outcome. I'm calling the ambulance and I'm hanging up and I'm getting on a Zoom. And I just switch. I can leave my life behind when I do a reading. What goes on in my life is obsolete because we use a different side of our brain when we connect. So none of what's going on in my life is going to come into my reading. You have to be able to shut it off, no matter what's going on. I've talked to my mentor, which we're going to have on here as well, and he'll tell you, I've just had the biggest fight with my partner, swearing at each other, and I have to step out on stage.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah.
Do you understand about that? Just switch that goes on, David? Do you also do that when you're like, you've had you guys have talked about it on the way to your church dems, there's been accidents, you're stressing, you're like, oh, freaking hell, am I going to make it in time? All of that. Yeah. You're able to just switch it off and just get on with it.
Yeah, I don't know how, because
see?
I panic about things. An example of that was I was going to a church which is about over 50 miles away. I don't know what that is in kilometers, maybe I don't know, 65 or 70 kilometers away or something. So it took me an hour and 15 to get there. But on the
Mhm.
way, my warning light came on my car dashboard to say my wheels and the driver's side wheel had lost pressure. And so
Oh,
there I am in the car thinking, oh, fuck, fuck, fuck. I panic about those kind of things
yeah,
because I'm not.
yeah,
I've had a car since I learned to drive. I don't know how to fix them at all. I don't even know how to change a spare tire. But it might sound a bit awful to people. I don't. I just don't. And oh, please, just get me there, get me there. I started sweating, as you do, in that panic mode. I think just get me to the church. I'll sort it out there. So I pulled up at the church, checked the tire. The tire didn't seem to have deflated, but I was still like, well, I've got to sort this out when I finish now, haven't I? So I got into the church, and the dem was bloody fantastic. And it went, and for
always.
whatever reason, I was able just to take that out of my mind. I stepped on the platform and did a fantastic service, and then sorted it out when I left. But yeah, I don't know how we do it. I don't know. I know it's just that work mode, whether it's the work ethic that we have, where when you go into your job, your then mind's on the job and not on your physical life or whatever. I don't know what it is, but
Mm,
it is just that switch of. I guess it's just a thing of I'm here to do a job now. So although
yeah,
yes, that's just happened, but I can't change that whilst I'm on platform. So I can't do anything about it. I've just got to get on my job that I'm here to do, and then I'll sort it out afterwards. I don't know what it is, but it is just that. But it is a challenge. And I
yeah.
thought when I was on the way there, going to the church, when the flat tire warning light came up, I thought to myself, right, I'm gonna have a really shit dem tonight because that's gonna be on my mind. But for whatever,
Mm,
but it wasn't. I don't know why
no,
or how. It just, yeah, you switch off that the logical side
I
of your
th
brain, I suppose, the worry and
I also think it's that when we get into that zone, we're on such a high because the vibration, like we have to lift our vibration to meet spirit's vibration. Even, psychic, you got to lift your vibration, but then spirit, you've got to lift it up
yeah,
even higher to
yeah,
match theirs. So I think that because we have to do that, we're on such a high and everything else, you kind of, when you have to finish and when you come down, you're just like, ugh. It's like
yeah,
a drug. It's like being on
yeah,
drugs. You're on such a high, and then it can take you hours to come down. After,
yeah.
does it take you hours after a dem? Like,
Yeah, when I come home, it's like when I even just go to normal work when I get home late. I can't go to bed straight away. I
no,
can't just go to sleep. I have to go to bed, and every night, probably drives my other half up the wall because he's in bed earlier than me because he gets up for work really early. But I'm always go to bed. I've got my iPad on, and I'm watching something on one of the TV channels on my iPad or whatever because I need to wind down. I can't just
same.
go, oh, right, I'm home. I've got to get home, have a cup of tea. Got to have my cup of tea
Hmm.
when I get home, and I know whatever else, and maybe something to eat if I feel like it. But yeah, I have to bring myself down a little bit before I can go to bed.
Yeah. And I hate working at night because I'm always on such a high. And it can
Mm.
take me like till midnight, after midnight to come down
Yeah,
from that high. Um, but yeah, see, there's another challenge. We have to deal with the highs and lows of all of this. And depending on what that reading was, how it all went, what was talked about, what came through, how emotional it is, all of that sort of stuff we take on. But people say to me, oh, it must really, really drain you. You must get really tired. I think that you get to a point that you're able to just shut it off. For me, doing online readings, it's really good because it's kind of like, okay, I'm done, work's finished, I shut the laptop and that's it. I don't think about it anymore.
mm.
When you're doing face-to-face stuff, uh, to me, it seems to attach a little bit more. I don't know. That's just
Yeah.
with me.
No, I think I can only do, and I've only learned this over the past few years, is I can only do a certain amount of demonstrations in a row. Two.
Yeah.
But I think it's not necessarily the demonstration. I think it's the travel that goes with it because although yes, you're just sat in the car, actually the travel is quite exhausting because you're focused on the road, you're focused where you're going to then drive however long you drive to then do the demonstration to then drive back again. It's not
Mm.
just, no, you go to work for an hour and a half or whatever and do a dem and that's it. It's the getting ready for it, the preparation for it. It's then getting in the car to go to demonstration. It's building yourself up, then do the demonstration, to come down again, to get back in the car, to come home again, to then wind down. So
Yeah.
because of that, when I do public dems, I tend to only do two in a row, unless it's an online dem, which is a little bit easier because you're in your home on the front of a, like you
Mm.
said, in front of a screen. It's a little bit easier. Um, so, so I do find people do say it to me as well. You must be really tired after a demonstration, and I think it's because, and I had this comment the other day, and it's not to blow smoke up my own arse because I don't, but those demos that I've done, people will say the energy that you brought to that platform was amazing. And they could
Yeah.
tell that it wasn't flat. I never do or want to do a flat demonstration. I always bring my energy. I give 110%, which is why a message I got yesterday really pissed me off. But that's a whole other story. We can talk about that in a minute if you want. But I bring my all to it. And I think because I use so much of my own energy, that I completely exhaust myself at the end. But that's the only
Mm.
way I can work. I can't do flat demonstrations. I've watched enough of them in my lifetime to know
Yeah.
what that does to people in the audience, and it bores them. So I always bring my A game whenever I do a demonstration, because again, that lifts my vibration, and
Hmm.
that keeps the connection. Keeps the connection there. It keeps it more smooth, free flowing, and that's just how I work. But it's just how I am as a person, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I find it a little bit tiring sometimes, I think, because of the energy we put into it.
Yeah. I limit myself on how many I read, how many healings I do, all of that, because it's so it can be so intense.
Yeah.
But I also have a family, like
No,
I still
exactly.
have
Yeah.
family time,
Yeah.
the before school drop off, the after school drop off, all of that, by the time you've dropped your kids off at school, they've punched on in the car and it's just fucking mayhem. And then you've got to come in and go, okay, let's get that energy going. We've got to
Mm.
do readings. You know what I mean? There's all of that. The kids are fighting or there's something going on. That all contributes to, you know, life as a medium, all of that sort of stuff. And then you've got your parents that are sick and you're kind of like you're dealing with a lot of stuff. I've been there, I've done that, it's kind of it can be challenging, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you still manage to do it with the right ethics, with the
Mm.
right compassion, you know, you're coming from a place of love. So I feel like, again, if we go back to the start, you can't do it just to make a quick buck. It ain't worth
No.
making the quick buck.
No, you can't. No. Exactly. Hmm.
And you know what? And if you're just dishing out cards, I've got a card here for you, blah, 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 blah. Sure. You're not getting into it. You're not feeling any of that emotion. You're not dealing with any of that. You can rattle off 50 million readings. Of course you
Yeah.
can.
Mm.
But are you tapped into that person? Are you feeling their
Exactly.
energy? Are you feeling what is going on in their life? Are you reading them?
And
Because
it's a
if you're
whole
tapped in, oh yeah,
whole
it's a
other story. We could get
whole
into another
story.
tangent. Maybe
Another
that's for
tangent.
another episode. Let me write that one down.
I know, write that one down. So yeah, we have our challenges. The other challenges that we have to face is the boundaries with people. People think we're on tap. I'll just get a message. I've turned off all of my notifications on social media because I just don't do it. If it's that important, you will email me and I'll get to that at a
Yeah.
normal time.
Yeah.
I get so much bullshit. I'm feeling this in my house. What is it? Oh, can you tell me what this is? Oh my God, I get the psychos on my page, the woo-woo crap that is out there that I just won't fucking deal with, that I just turn it off. They want to know all of this stuff. And I'm like, what the freaking hell? I'm not tuned into you. And people messaging and going, oh, do you know what's going on? Can you feel this was going on in my life? No, sweetheart, because I'm not
No.
tuned in with you.
No.
Right now, I'm taking my child to a freaking sport or I'm dealing with this major breakdown or my car's playing up. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not
Yeah.
thinking about you. If you want my time and my dedication and me to tune in with you, to get a really good reading, you're going to have to book a reading. I'm not just going to be handing out readings over Messenger. So that can be challenging. And guess what? When you say no, people get the shits.
Mm.
They unfollow you and they don't like you anymore. And I always say, don't let the door hit you on the way out, because I've not once messaged my hairdresser and said, can you fucking open up for me today and just cut my hair? Right, I need this trim, or I need a toner put in today, right this minute.
Mm.
I guarantee no one would
Very
answer
true.
you.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't get that
So,
anymore. At the beginning, maybe a little bit, um, and from family as well, but I
yeah,
soon sorted that one
exactly.
out. Um, but yeah, I'm quite like, I don't get that very much anymore, to be honest, which is a good thing. Because like you, as I say, we're not, you start to feel a little bit like you're being used. That sounds
Oh,
really
yeah.
dramatic, doesn't it? But it does a
No,
little
but it
bit because
does.
someone knows that that's what you can do, that suddenly you're just on tap. And as you say, we're not constantly tuned in. I'm not Teresa Caputo. I'm not constantly tuned in. I'm really sorry. I have a life. But it's
Exactly.
coming back to that challenge about, and I was told this at the very, very beginning, is that you are a human first. You are, oh, yes, we are living a spirit living a human experience, but we are human first. We have families, we have other jobs. Some of us do anyway, have other
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah.
Um, whatever else. I mean, for example, this week, it's Thursday today, isn't it? Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I've not seen my partner
Wow.
this
Yeah.
week. We've seen each other
Yeah.
lying down in the bed. So when I come home from work, he's in bed, or vice versa. We've not seen each other. And so again, that's a challenge in itself, but it's about, again, remember that we are human and that we do have families, we do have partners, we do have other things going on
Yeah.
in our lives. I don't know if everyone understands that, but hopefully they will now.
No.
Um, and most of our listeners are intelligent anyway, so they understand that. But
Yeah.
we're not just here at the click of a button. Oh, you'll know this, you'll know that. Actually, I don't.
Yeah. Or
So,
I just stop answering people. I just stop.
mm,
I just don't bother answering anymore. It's like, sweetheart, I've not seen you for 5 years. It's not like we go for coffee every day. What makes you think you can reach out to me and just ask me this question,
mm,
and expect me to answer it? Like, my husband's week on, week off. I don't see my husband. I'm raising children. Thank God they're a little bit older now. But it's like, I've got so much going on. Why is your question more important than my time? Like, my time is more valuable to me. It's about learning the boundaries and also my worth.
absolutely.
So again, we can go on that tangent of people whinging about how much you charge, and I can go on about this. I feel that the most neglected in charging are the mediums in the UK. It's really, really sad that you are not paid more for what you are worth, or your knowledge, your connection, the effort, the work that is put in. It's really sad because the rest of the world pay, but the
Yeah.
UK people don't. It's because you can jump on any site and get a reading. You can go down to a local spiritual church, get a reading, all of that. But at the end of the day, do you want that? I don't. I don't want my reading out loud so every Tom, Dick, and Harry can hear it. It's only going to be skimming the surface type of reading. I want a reading where that medium is connected to me, to my loved one, and giving me exactly what my spirit person is saying or what I need to hear right now. So we put in the time, the dedication. And for me, because I'm over this side of the world, all my training I have to pay for. And all my training is double the price because it's in UK dollars.
Yeah.
So if you think that it's $400 to have a training, it's not, it's $800. You know what I mean? It's like everything
Mm,
is doubled. So
yeah.
the more training I do, the better I'm going to be, the better your reading is going to be. I have to pay for that.
Yeah.
How do I pay for that? Through my readings.
Mm.
So will I reinvest in myself and my training through my clients? And I think that you pay for what you get.
Mm.
Also, the other thing is around the money and all of that sort of, and I don't feel I need to kind of dignify it or, like explain it,
Fine.
but
Yeah.
yeah. But if you're going to Betty down the road that charges $80, she's taking cash in hand. She doesn't pay for a website. She doesn't pay for Zoom. She doesn't pay for a booking system. She doesn't pay her taxes. Guess what, sweetheart? I pay all of that.
Mm.
I pay insurance. I guarantee
Yeah.
she doesn't have insurance either. So all of that has to come out of my reading.
Yeah.
People
No, I
don't
can.
understand that.
Yeah.
They
No,
think
I
it should be
completely agree.
free and it's a
Yeah.
gift. It's a gift. You should share it for free. So,
Yeah.
David,
I could go on a big rant about this.
I know it's like someone's got to put food on the table. My free
Mm.
readings ain't going to do that. So
No.
that's my little rant about the challenges around our work.
And there's probably more you can add to that list as well, but there you go.
So my question to you is another challenge,
Oh,
David. Have you had someone you haven't been able to connect with?
yes. It's not happened very often, but it's one of my probably biggest fears, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was a guy, and not a lot of men come for readings. I don't know if you find that as well. It's mostly women. So it's a
Mm.
guy come for reading on Zoom, and I'd picked up on a male and a female, described them, and he couldn't understand anything about what I've just said at all. And when I did it for about 10 minutes, I go, right, I go little go again, but this is definitely who I've got here. It was a nice guy. It wasn't standoffish. He wasn't horrible. He seemed quite open to it. So no, it didn't seem to be a bad person. And I said, look, this 10 minutes in, you're obviously not understanding who I've got. I'm either doing something wrong or you just don't understand it. Maybe it's not who you want to hear from or whatever. I said, but I'm going to end the reading here because I'm not going to waste my time or yours. I didn't say it in a mean way. It was just, no, don't waste your time, waste my energy either. So I'm going to end the reading here, give you the refund, which I did. And here are some other mediums that you could potentially go to. And he said he respected my honesty, that I wasn't going to lead him down the garden path trying to make things fit or make things up. It was as it was, just was not happening on that particular day for whatever reason. And we left it on a good note. And he said he wishes me the best of luck, and this would not put him off from recommending me to other people because he was recommended to me by somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's a challenge in itself. Or um, it's lovely to be recommended, but then I feel a sense of pressure, rightly or wrongly, thinking if I've been recommended, I've got to be shit hot. So I put a little bit of pressure on myself actually to do that. But anyway, that was one example. The second example, which actually annoyed me, um, it's one of these that I think she came to the reading again recommended, but almost that sense of I'm not going to tell him anything. And
Oh, yeah.
so I was in the reading about 20 minutes. I'd brought somebody through who she could kind of understand, but I could tell at that point she wanted to hear from somebody else. And I just had the feeling of the person that I brought through, which she could understand, was not the person she wanted to hear from. And one of those, yeah, I think I understand that. Or think, I was like, you do or you don't, love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I said to her, look, right, we're 20, 25 minutes in. I've given you somebody who you can take, but I can tell there's someone else you want to hear from. So I asked her, okay, who is it that you want to hear from? And let me try and get that connection for you. And she said, I don't really want to tell you. I said, right, so we have two choices. You either don't tell me and we just end the reading because I can tell you're not feeling it, or you can let me
Mm.
know and I can just attempt to get the person and that you want to hear from, and it ended up being her dad. So again, I brought him through, gave her things, and the reading was about 45 minutes long, right? Um, and so I said, right, that's it. So we wrapped up everything else. She thanked me at the end, whatever. And I just felt in myself that it wasn't the best reading, and I think I put it all on myself and blame myself for that, and
She
kind
wasn't
of
working with you.
let her get away with it. So I emailed her back to say, da 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 da, apology, as you know, as a gesture of goodwill, I refunded her half the amount back. I didn't get a thank you, an
No.
acknowledgement. I got nothing back at all, and I felt like saying, it's really unethical, but I thought, do you know what? Fuck you, because I tried my hardest there. I still gave you half a refund, but you couldn't even acknowledge me. You couldn't even say thank you or I understand or whatever. Absolute nothing.
Hmm.
And it's really, and it's those kind of situations. If I was new, if I was like a year or two into my development at that point, that would have pushed me right back and
Yeah.
set me right back to the beginning. Luckily, it didn't. I still questioned myself, but actually, no. After that reading, I turned my booking system off, and I said I'm not taking any bookings anymore for one-to-ones because it really put me off. Because I when you go to do your job, you never want to go into whatever job it is, whether it be in an office or as a plumber or a doctor or whatever it might be. You never want to go to your job and be made to feel uncomfortable or be made to feel like you're less than you are, whether it's through your own head or someone else making you feel that way. We shouldn't have to do that. And when you do feel that, you want to go the other way and it kind of repels you rather than attract you to it. So is at that moment I thought I'm not doing these one-to-ones anymore because of the pressure of that and the environment that the energy that was in that space at that time. I don't want to work with that.
Yeah.
And so I still take requests for one-to-ones and I'm still doing them, but I've turned my automatic booking system off. So if people want a one-to-one, as they can message me. But it's readings like that that really put me off doing it because again, we're not here to be tested. We're here to give you what we get, what we get. And sometimes they're going to be fabulous readings, and sometimes they might seem to be not so great in the moment. But I guess one of the other challenges that we have to before we move on from it is that we have good days and bad days. Like in any job that you do, some days you're going to go into work feeling absolutely fabulous and great, and you're ready to work. The next day, like today, I feel exhausted. You might go into work feeling like,
Mm.
actually, I'm exhausted today. I'm going to give the best that I've got, but the best that I have might not be my usual best. But
Mm.
again, when people are paying for something, for service, they're not thinking about that. They're not thinking about you in that
They have
moment.
an
They're thinking about
expectation.
they've got an expectation of I want this, that, or the other. But even if I was in a great space that day and feeling absolutely fabulous, you still may not have got your list of things that you wanted. And that's a challenge because people need to remember that spirit will give what they need you to hear, not what you want to hear. You might want to hear from old grandma who gave you this and gave you sweeties and pocket money, and but that might not be the person that comes through because that
That's
might
right.
not be what you need to hear at that point. You might need to hear some tough love from granddad who needs you to hear X, Y, and Z, not the fluffy stuff which grandma might have said to you in lifetime. So I think it's the expectation sometimes that is a real challenge as well that people
Yeah.
have in readings, but your expectation is not always going to be fulfilled because this is not like we are talking to real life people who are living. We are talking to people in the spirit world who do not have a voice. They don't have a physical voice. They don't have a physical body to communicate with. And therefore, the communication is not going to be as you want it. They're not going to give you a password or a PIN code to your credit card or whatever else, whatever secret word you've set up for them. Because for
Yeah.
them, that might not be the important thing. For
And
them, the important
people
thing
need to
might be,
they need to understand it's another language that we're learning.
yeah,
This is
because
another
it's not.
language with no
I'm not sat.
voice.
No, I'm not sat talking to him like I'm sat talking to Glenda. It's not.
No.
That's not what it is. So that in itself is a challenge. But yeah, anyway, those are my challenges there.
And I've gone through multiple ones exactly the same as that. When you do one-to-one, there's a really, I think, I don't know, it can be a bit of a balancing act because you go, there's more expectation. I've got to sit here for 1 hour and constantly talk and give you evidence and give you all of this stuff because the expectations there. Well, then you kind of go a platform, okay, 5 minutes, wrap it up, next one, 5 minutes, wrap it up, next one. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like you kind of go, oh, I don't know which one I would prefer. But then you've got that you're standing on stage and you have to perform, you're just like go, go, go. But what I've learned through my work is if you're not working with me, you're not working with me. I will just end the reading. And I say it, you know what, this isn't working. You're holding up. It's like they put this barrier up, and that's what it feels like for us. They've got a wall up, and we need to knock those bricks out one by one to kind of make that connection. When it's like that, it's like, what is it, treacle? It's just going
Yeah.
so slowly. That's not working. So if someone's not working with me and they're not open, I'm not doing the reading. Don't book with me. Easy.
No, that's it, and
I'm
that's
not
it.
here to be tested.
No, and it's that again, it's that honesty, and I'll be very honest. And then people, even on platform, and Bill said it to us before when he's had a challenging person who doesn't work with him. He says, "Right, I'm going to leave that with you out, and I'm going to move on to somebody else," because
Yeah,
there's no point again sat in an audience with your arms folded, again with a face on you.
yeah,
Work with the medium. Again, this
that's
is
it.
this that it's not necessarily meant to be easy, but it's not meant to be made to be felt difficult like that person's trying to make it. It's supposed to
That's
be
it.
an uplifting experience, and it can't be uplifting if you've gone into that sitting or demonstration with negativity and that really low vibration, because it's not just you in the room. You've got an audience full of people in the room
Mm,
who are there to enjoy the evening, to feel uplifted, to feel that sense of connection. Even if their spirit loved one doesn't come through for to them directly, you can still feel the energy
the
in that room and
energy.
the spirit in the room. And that's why a lot of people like going to churches rather than one-to-ones, because they don't necessarily go for a their own reading. They will go because of the energy that that place brings,
Yeah,
because of how they feel. And we all know when we've walked into a church, whether it be a spiritualist church, Catholic church, whatever, or a temple, whatever, a cathedral, whatever it might be, when you walk into that place, that energy hits you.
yeah.
And that's what people like to sit in and even just to watch. Matt, people said to me, I didn't get a message, but I really enjoyed what you did, and I enjoyed the energy that was in this place this evening.
That's it.
And that's what makes you feel it, leaves you feeling good, because you've done a good job. You may not have got a reading themselves, but you've been able to try and shift the energy, you've been able to uplift the energy, and that kind of stuff. So
And you can feel the energy. And whenever I go for when I've gone for, to spiritual churches or anything like that, um, I don't go to receive a message. I just
mm,
go there for the atmosphere, I love hearing other people receive messages. Do you know what I mean? I not
yeah,
necessarily need one, but it's great, to go to an event, to watch another medium work, to watch, how they work and the messages that come through. It's like, when John Edward comes to town and that sort of thing. I always say to people, don't don't go in with that expectation.
yeah,
Just what will
yeah,
be will be. If it happens, it's magic, like
yeah. No, I
it's
agree.
that's what's meant to happen. But
Mm.
with self-doubt, do you still have self-doubt, David?
Oh, fucking
When
it.
does your self-doubt creep in?
Now, all the time, all the time, and that's one of my challenges as well. Is me. I get on
Yeah.
my own tits, honestly. Um,
Mm.
and even just to give you an example, that happened yesterday. Um, in my head, I've been thinking about, is it time that I start booking my own special events? So, for anyone that's not familiar with my work, I've been doing platform work for just over 2 years now. So Sunday services, and Tuesday or Thursday night, evenings of mediumship, where it is just an opening prayer, a song, an hour or so of demonstration, and then obviously wrap it up or whatever. And obviously, have done special events where I've done special events alongside our fairy godfather Bill Hughes and some other mediums. In fact, I got one this Saturday as well, actually, with two mediums. And so bear in mind, I've been doing that for just over 2 years. I was thinking to myself, do I start booking in my own ones and offering like Saturday night specials or whatever else? At the same time, my mind goes, but you're not good enough to do it yet, because you're not been doing it long enough or whatever else, because seeds of doubt that were placed in my mind many years ago. And yeah, so I think to myself, I can't do it by myself. You're not good enough. Are you going to sell tickets? Blah, blah, blah. But then you kind of talk yourself out of that and go, well, no, I've stood on a platform by myself, God knows how many times, and I'm doing it anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so I had a church which is not close to me, is about an hour and a half away, which I've done before. Had asked me to go back because the dates they had in the diary were not correct because the previous person that was booking people in anyway. So contacted me and said, we'd like you back. We loved you here. We'd like you to come back and do some dates next year. So, okay, I thought, well, I was going to say no to them because it is quite far away. And she came back with dates yesterday. And I'd offered at the same time, well, I can only do Sundays now because to get to where they are on a Tuesday night in rush hour traffic is a pain in the arse for 25, 30 quid. And obviously my other job that I have now is mostly weeknights as well. So, but that's where the money is. And so I can do Sundays, but maybe Saturday specials or what have you. So she sent a text message back saying, yeah, do Sundays. The Saturday night specials would be good, but would ask you to, this is basically how I read it, but would ask you to work with another medium of your choice because you could sell more tickets with more bodies on stage. So my mind read that as, well, you're not good enough to do it by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So bring someone else on, and that's the only way you're going to get more tickets. So in my mind, this is how my mind works, is that, and this shouldn't be what happened, but
it's a kick in the guts.
Her words validated what my head told me before, which was I wasn't good enough. Which is what shouldn't really happen. But I just feel like, because she said in it, it sounds really awful the way I've said it, didn't it? With a laughing face emoji.
Oh, you think?
And so, yeah, so what that happened there was my mind took that as, well, actually, no, you're not good enough to do it by yourself. But I was good enough when she's paying me only 25, 30 quid on a Sunday to do a service where I do an opening prayer, a bit of philosophy, as well as the mediumship, as well as the closing prayer and everything else. So I'm good enough to do that and get paid 25 quid for it, but then I'm not good enough to do a Saturday night special by myself. And then I thought, well, it's bollocks by having two people on stage, because I mean, Bill's done that by himself and we love Bill and he has got a following, right? But other mediums there have done it by themselves on a Saturday, doing a Saturday special. So why am I suddenly being told I have someone else, I should bring someone else on stage with me? Why do I need to do that? So then that affects my self-worth. As much as I shouldn't take it personally, sometimes I do. Because if in my head I'm already saying to myself, you're not good enough, her words just validate. Her words don't invalidate what I'm feeling, they validate what I'm feeling. Whereas if I was someone who was arrogant or up my own arse or egotistical, where I was like, well, I don't give a fuck because I'm fabulous and I always get it right and I'm always great on stage and blah, 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 blah. If that was me, then those words wouldn't affect me. I'll say, fuck you, I'm going elsewhere. But because my mind's already saying, well, you're not good enough to do this or do it by yourself or do that or whatever, then her words validate what I'm already feeling about myself, or that whether it's true or not, because I'm feeling it already, then what she said has just validated it. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? And so, so that's where that's my biggest challenge, is my own self, really.
Yeah. But at the same time, your mind will always give you the negative first. It will never give you a positive.
Yeah.
So you're always going to go to the negative. But at the end of the day, how rude of her to actually write that and suggest you do that. It's kind of like just money grabbing at the same time. I'm not worried about your feelings or how you feel. I just want more tickets sold. So I guess you have to kind of take a step back and just ask yourself, do you really want to go there?
Oh, no, I'm not. I've already decided that.
There you go. So yeah, that doesn't help that self-doubt. That doesn't help that situation,
Yeah. No, and
which sucks.
it does, and but I do question myself, and I think because I don't have a stage persona, I am me on or off that stage. It doesn't matter what platform I'm on. I put on a show, but that's just because well, I don't know if I put on a show actually. But as I said before, because I give my entire being, my entire energy to when I'm on platform, that's exactly the same as if I was doing my art job that I do. I
Yeah.
go to work because I was brought up with that work ethic. If you want to earn money, you go to work and you do your job. So when I see other people not doing the same thing, it really winds me up. That's a whole other story. But so when I'm on platform, I'm no different. I am David, and I just give myself. And people always comment. Again, I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own arse, but sometimes we need a bit of validation for ourselves, I suppose. But people always say, the energy you brought, the evidence that you bring through. I am not a watery medium. I am not a generic
Yeah.
medium. People know that of me. So when I do all that, and I get the same feedback wherever I go, I then question, well, what is it then about me that people are not booking for whatever reason, whether it be Saturday night specials or for any other reason? Why is that not happening? Is there a disconnect somewhere? I don't know. I don't get it. Or is it just no, that spirit divine timing? I don't know. Whatever it
I
is,
don't
but
think it's that. I don't think it's that at all. I think that what I hear so much in the UK is, it's really hard to keep the doors open in the churches. There's always drama in the churches. But at the end of the day, what are they doing to help that? Now, she
mm,
has a medium that's saying yes to this, but then kind of getting, she's not giving, lifting you up, encouraging you or
mm.
anything like that. So are they looking after their mediums that are coming on? Is my question. How well are the mediums being treated over there for £25 or £30?
Yeah. No, I do
So it's
think, and
not
I don't.
it's not all of that. And I don't think it's not. I think the mediums are always going to have hesitations and we're all going to have self-doubt. Every medium does.
Mm,
But I think when you're fed with the right love and energy, we would love you here, David. It would be fantastic for you to come. That would make my whole persona want to be there. Do you get
no,
what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I get you mean because there are certain churches that I know I would have a fabulous time doing um a Saturday night special, whatever. And I think you're right. I think there are certain places that you work in. I have my favourites. I do have my favourite places to
See?
work, and I have a
And
great
why is
time
it your
there.
favorite? Why is it your favorite? The way that you get treated,
Where you
the
get
way the
treat,
people are
yeah,
there.
yeah, the
There you go.
audience there. It's just a lovely
See?
place to work. So there are places, but I also think that I'm standing about arsehole here. Um, but I think it's part of it is, and this is just if it's a challenge or whether I'm just having a bit of a rant here or whatever. But I'm not an arse kisser. I never
Yeah,
have kissed
me
arse,
either.
and I never will. And I think that you see in the UK, there are certain mediums, the same mediums that go around in the same circles, doing the same church, being offered all the same things. Because like they go around in their little cliques. I'm not part of a clique.
Yeah,
I will never will be. I have friendships like you and Bill, but we are not a clique. We are just a friendship. We are not
yeah.
like the witches of Eastwick around a cauldron, bad mouthing people, whatever else.
Mm,
But just it might sound like I'm bad mouthing people, but I'm not. It's just trying to get to a point because this does happen. It's a fact. It's true that there are people who will kiss the asses of certain people in the spiritual movement to get where they need to be. I'm never
Oh
going to do
yeah.
that. I've never, anything I've earned in my life has been through hard work, determination, and some said to me the other day, the tenacity that I have, because that's how I operate. I've never earned anything in my life, whether it be a job or a relationship or whatever it might be, by kissing anyone's ass. I've never done it. I don't like people kissing my ass either, because I
No.
find it very sickly. I find it naff, and I find it
Mm,
fake. If you want
yeah.
something, say it. Just ask for it. Don't be, sniffing around me, because I've never done that, and I won't do that. And some people might say we might need to do this or do that to get. No, I don't need to do that. I don't. So I don't need to be everywhere on social media to get a bit of attention. That's just not me as a person. I'd rather put the
Yeah.
hard work in, pay my dues, whatever, to get where I need to be, and not do it by kissing ass. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
sometimes that's what happens in
I
the
can't
UK.
handle the clicks. But it's not
No,
just
it's
the
just,
UK, it's everywhere. This whole spiritual
yeah,
community. It's like they got clicks. And I've even noticed it on social media. If one likes it, the rest of the clique like your post. And if they don't like it,
yeah,
no one's going to like your post. And I just think, I don't have time for that sort of bullshit. Just be
yeah,
genuine, be a genuine person,
yeah,
be authentic, and show up the way that you are instead of having to hide behind someone else's skirt. Just be real. And that gets on my fucking goat. That one. That's another podcast.
that's an if I,
That's a whole, yeah. We
that's
should have
another mini
started that
episode.
one.
What's getting your
Yeah.
goat?
But the self-doubt, when I get self-doubt, is when I have a break. When I've had holidays,
Yeah,
I I go back and go, can I do this? Am I be able to connect to spirit again? Can I do this
yeah,
again? What the freaking hell is that about when I've had a
yeah.
break, gone on
Mm,
holidays, come back? And you know what? I kind of put it down to is like, for me, the way I can rationalize it in my head, it's because um, we mingle with spirit every day, every second day. We're doing readings, right? And when you have that break, my
yeah,
balance is off. I have too much human side and then I need more spiritual side. So I need, because I'm a Libra, and I need to balance that out. So then I kind
yeah,
of go, can I do this? Oh my God, I have not been connecting with spirit. I have
yeah,
not been doing readings and I need to get that balance right. So to
yeah,
me, it's kind of like a little addiction as well. It's like, okay, who can I read? I just need to kind of like get my foot, my toes dipped in the water again. And it's
yeah.
really weird. That's
It
when my
is.
self-doubt creeps in,
Yeah, 'cause I had a
having
big break in March, and that was not on purpose. That's because we might have had to potentially have moved house in March, and so I didn't book in anything in March at all. And one late booking came in towards the end of March, but I had nothing in March at all. Not a single spiritual thing apart from one church service towards the end. And when it came to do that church service, I was like, oh, fuck. Am I going to have to do this? Because I felt
yeah,
so disconnected because I hadn't done any spiritual thing in March whatsoever. I had my art stuff took over, but very much so in March, and then I got sick in March as well. And I just that space of like you, like I've not done any spiritual work for weeks. Am I going to be able to do it? Am I going to be shit if I do that demonstration, that church service? Am I going to be any good? Is it going to be a real awful night? And
yeah,
all those things go around in your head. So no, I get that, yeah, completely. When you've had a bit of a break, and you go, oh, how do I get back to it? It
yeah. And
works
it's
in the
kind of
end,
like,
but it's
yeah,
that initial thought
always.
of, oh, bugger.
I know, always. And, I used to ask my mentor, and we'll get to ask him again. He's the same. He said the same thing to me. You kind
Mm,
of go, oh, can I do this again? It's like when you
yeah,
have that break. I think
yeah,
it's because we're mingling with spirit every day or every second day, depending on how often we read, how often we're doing things, and we get used to it. And then when
yeah,
it stops, you feel a bit lost. I do. I feel lost when
yeah,
I don't have spirit connection. I feel like something's missing in my life. And, that question is, do you see yourself not doing this again?
mm,
I don't, I can't see my life without this in
yeah,
in it. One, it helped save my life. got me back on track. And again, that connection with spirit, I don't think I can ever walk away from it. Where did I find the challenges with it? When I lost my mum.
Mm.
Um, you have to feel the feels. That's where I went in that, oh my God, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because of the heartache and that humanness going, my heart's just broken. I'm never going to see her again. Oh my God, death is so final. Oh, the grief is so heavy. But then, yeah, I had this whole tug of war with the spiritual side going, but she's okay. She's already
Mm.
sending you signs. She's continued on, like she's not in pain anymore. Like there's this tug of war going on. So you kind of like, you have to feel the feels
Yeah.
through life. And I
Yeah.
think that's with anything, relationships, relationship breakups, all of that sort of stuff. You've got to feel the feels.
Yeah.
So yeah, the self-doubt, it's just like self-doubt when you've been single for so long and you've got to put yourself out there to meet someone, or, like you want to meet someone, you're anxious. You got to be vulnerable again. You've got to put yourself out there. You're nervous, all of that. It's the same sort of thing. You're kind of like, you're vulnerable. You always got to
Mm.
put yourself in that situation to be vulnerable, to grow, to
Yeah.
evolve, to learn.
Yeah.
And us with spirit, we're always vulnerable.
Yeah.
We're always open to learning. We're always saying, okay, spirit, teach me something new.
Mm.
Show me something different. And you see your mediumship change, or you kind of feel it go a bit askew and you go, is that
Yeah.
a new spirit guide coming in? Oh, what's going on here? And you're learning to like blend with that spirit guide. You're learning to understand each other.
Yeah.
When you're learning something new, and again, you kind of go, that self-doubt, can I do this? Of course you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Spirit's always going to have your back.
Yeah.
What about disappointment? Where have you been disappointed other than, some of these spiritual churches that can be quite disappointing?
How do I want to put it? I've been more really disappointed in, I guess, the attitudes of people or the behaviors of people or the hypocrisy of people as well. Just people, really, just disappointing people.
Yeah.
Put that on it, that term on it. Give specific examples. No, I think it's more when you've had conversations with certain mediums who are talking about this, talking about that. You shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, and then you see them 6 months later, and they're doing the exact same thing they've talked about.
Mm,
Because then that makes me feel like, well, where is your integrity then that I thought you had in the first place?
mm,
Um, why are you now doing that when you told me that I shouldn't be doing it? Because that's not what
mm,
mediums should do, but now you're doing it. So it's more I guess the hypocrisy in that, and I mean, and also disappointment in mediums that say one thing and don't do it. So, for example, when I first started developing, I did an online 4-week circle with a very well-known psychic medium in the UK, and during the circle was very encouraging or whatever, and obviously had to pay for it. And then not long after that, and there's always this person that said, "I'm always here to help anyone. If anyone's got any questions for me at any time, I'm happy to help anyone, and not just in the circle, but anyone in general." Never heard from him since.
mm,
So as soon as you get a little bit of notoriety or a little bit, your face is out there a little bit more doing the work, suddenly these people just disappear. They're
mm-hmm.
not the ones that are going to help you. Because they're in it for
No.
themselves. And
Yeah.
we all need to earn our own money, but if you're going to talk the talk, you've got to walk the walk as well. Don't say you're going to do something and then don't do it. And I've had that with another medium as well. It was say, "Oh yeah, I'm always here to answer your questions and to support you and whatever else." I felt no support.
Yeah.
So where's that person gone? And then
Yeah.
you
That's
have these
it.
people say, we're going to book you. I want to book you for this particular church. I'm going to contact you. I'm still waiting 6 months later. I don't like people that don't follow through. It's not I don't like them, it just irritates me. It's in general that if you're gonna I'm the kind of person that if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, right? That's just me.
Yeah.
So when someone else don't do it, then it just irritates me. Maybe that's just a me thing.
No,
but
I get it.
but in general, if you're gonna say don't build my hopes up and say we're gonna do this and do that, I'm gonna book you for that, and then you never contact me. If you're not generally interested, I'd rather you say I'm not interested. But the people don't
Yeah.
have the balls to say these kind of things. Um, but if you're not interested, don't say at all that you're interested. If you're not interested at all, just don't say it, and then don't follow through because that just again it shows the lack of integrity that person has, and maybe a slight fakeness to them. Because if you were real and honest, you would say, right, we're going to book you. Here's some dates. I'll contact you next week, and they do contact you next week. Again, I'm still
Yeah.
waiting for half these people 6 months, a year
Yeah.
down the line. If
I
you're going to do it, do
respect
it.
I
No, if
respect
you don't,
someone
don't
that
want to
will
do it, don't do it.
send me a message and go, you know what, we were going to do this together, but I've changed my mind, or this has come up. Um, I just want to let you know. I would prefer that than seeing it on social media, being told by somebody else, all of that sort of stuff. I will respect you more being honest. Just
Yeah,
be honest.
just be
That's it.
honest.
Just be
Just
honest. But disappointment from spirit, I haven't had that.
not from
They've
no. I've yeah,
always turned up. They've
yeah,
always been there. There's never a time that you've gone to do a reading and they've not turned up. They've always turned up. They're
yeah.
always
And
there.
in those cases, I'm more disappointed in myself again.
See? It's the
Almost
human side.
my imposter syndrome. Um,
Yeah.
because I know how it works, and so when it
Hmm.
doesn't work, well, not it doesn't work, but it doesn't work the way I want it to, I'm then disappointed in myself because I haven't
Yeah.
been able to get my mind to that space. Because the thing is, we have this saying of spirit will never let you down.
Yeah.
Now, I know that, and we all know
Hmm.
that, but that's not the issue. That is not the
No,
problem.
it's us.
It's
It's the
us.
humans.
And I know people say it with the best of intentions. So if I say I'm a bit nervous and I don't know if I can do it this evening because I'm a bit tired or whatever, and people always say spirit will never let you down, like they're trying to make you feel better. And that's a good thing, right? That's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. But it isn't that. I know spirit will be there, but can my mind go there to meet them? That is the
Mm.
issue. It's not the issue of spirit are going to be there. It's can my mind get to that place to meet them, so the communication happens.
And it
So
does.
it
That
does,
switch goes
yeah.
on.
But sometimes that switch for me is not switched all the way around as much as I want it to be. Never mind what the audience want it to be, because our own worst enemies or our own worst critics. But that's the issue. It's the human side.
It
Can my
is.
mind get there? Because that people don't realize that when people say, "Oh, it's a gift," I don't call it a gift. For me, it's a skill set. It's an ability because you have to be able to switch your mind
Hmm.
off, your logical mind off, and I say you switch your spirit brain on,
Spirit mind.
and that's a
Yeah.
skill. So it's not necessarily an ability, or not necessarily a gift. It's an ability of a skill. And if I can't quite use that skill correctly that evening, then that's why I then beat myself up and go, well, I'm disappointed in myself this evening because I know it works, but I couldn't quite get there. I do,
Yeah.
but again, I think again, being our own worst critics, we go, well, that wasn't good enough, and I could have done better, and da 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 da. Even though you get people come up to you at the end saying, "Thank you, I needed that," or "Thanks for that message because that person not come through before," whatever it might be, still in your head you're going, "Yeah, but was it good enough? Did I give enough evidence?" And, and David, drive yourself mad.
I know I
Um,
do that too. I
but
just
that's
go,
just the reality
oh,
for me,
that really
anyway.
wasn't the best. But you can feel a good reading and a bad reading. And sometimes I have to kind of take a step back and just go, you know what? It's done.
Done.
It
You
was
can't
meant to
change it.
be. And then you get this amazing message or an email going, oh my God, that was the best reading I've had. I
Yeah,
really needed to hear all of that. And you go, oh, okay. that shows that it's us.
Yeah,
It shows that it's
it
us,
is. It's
that
us. Yeah.
we are the overthinkers, the one that think that we're not good enough, all of that sort of stuff. So that's the stuff where you kind of go, oh my God. But then sometimes it's the person that's just sitting there that just has such a low energy or a low vibration that, maybe they're coming for a reading too early. Maybe they
That's
should be
true.
going through the grief and going
Yeah.
through the healing instead of having a reading. I always say to people, like, I've had people email me and go, oh, I just want to book a reading. And then I kind of feel, but is it a reading you really need, or is it a healing you need?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a healing that you need. Maybe it's the healing work that you got to be doing and not the reading. If
The
you're coming
reading. Yeah.
for readings every couple of months, you need to do the healing,
Means to heal it. Yeah, that's not a good thing.
because we are mediums and we are tapped in and we don't read it ourselves,
Yeah.
but we don't go for readings.
No.
We trust the process of what's going to happen, but we do the healing. There's a
Yeah.
difference there.
Yeah.
I will do the healing. I will not go and get a reading.
Yeah. And I've turned people away as well. And they've asked for reading. Their husband died a week ago, and I said, well, and that might not be for me to tell someone that it's right to have reading, the
Mm.
right time to have reading or not. But I think again, ethically, I'm not just going to say yes to do a reading just to take the money. That person needs to go through the healing. Their husband died a week ago.
Yeah,
They don't need a reading. They need, I say, healing. They need to go through the grief and the acceptance of
yeah,
what's happened. As much as we don't always want to accept it, because in those cases, if you do the reading too soon, it can actually be more detrimental to the person rather than helpful.
yeah.
Because the grief is so raw, they want their person here, and they're not. They're no longer physically
It's
here. So if I sat there bringing them through, the grief is so raw that they won't understand anything else I'm saying because they just want their person here, which we can all understand. But in those cases, for me, it's not the right time to have a reading because you need to be in a certain place mentally and emotionally to be able to accept the connection without it affecting you in a detrimental way. It should always be in a healing way and in a way
yeah,
in which brings a little bit of peace, comfort, and upliftment. It should never leave anybody feeling distraught or worse than they were when they first walked in. I always say
that's
my
it.
reading should leave people feeling better than they were when they first walked in and not the opposite.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's just where our ethics again come into that. And like sometimes it can be a challenge to say no to people. I don't like saying no to people
I
always, but
have.
sometimes you have to, I have as well, but you have to sometimes go, no, Joe, this is not the right thing to do at this time, in
No,
my opinion.
no,
And
it's
if they
not
want to go
about the
elsewhere
money.
for reading, no, exactly.
Yeah.
If they want to go elsewhere for reading, that's completely up to them. But I won't cross that boundary of, oh, it's only been a week. Then they'll listen to anything I've got to say. So let's take the money. That's not me.
No,
There's no point
that's
in
it.
doing that until they've gone through the healing process.
And maybe, if you're constantly coming for readings, what is it that you're not trusting yourself with?
Mm.
Why aren't you trusting yourself to make those calls or those decisions and things like that? Do you know what I mean? I'm doing myself out of work here, but it's kind of like,
No, it's
you know,
it's true.
do you know what I mean? It's kind of like
Yeah.
maybe you should be doing some more, trusting your own intuition and working on those sort of things. Again, that happens with the work that you put in. It does come with healing as well. How many times do you have a reading? How many times do you have a healing and someone goes, oh, I knew all of that. Well,
Mm.
why aren't you trusting yourself to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the answers, we always say the answers are within us.
In us. Yeah.
It's just whether can you sift through the shit to get the answers out.
Mhm.
And
That's a good way
sometimes
of putting
we're
it.
the people. That's what we do. We sift through the shit to get those answers out, and we
Mm.
bring them out. And um, for me, when I went for a reading many, 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 many years ago, when I was going through a major trauma before I even came out doing this sort of stuff, I went for a reading and I didn't even know why I was going for a reading because my mum told me everything I needed to know. But I was just like, no, I need someone else. I need someone that doesn't know me. So off I went to a reader and I sat down and she goes to me, why are you here? Sort of for a reading. She goes, but you can do this. And I'm like, no, I can't. She goes, yes, you can. You do what I do. I'm like, no. She never gave me anything, not one thing that was prophecy, that was future. Do you know what she did? She validated how I was feeling. And guess what? That's what I needed that day.
Yeah.
Validation.
Yeah.
And I say that to some people, if it's anything that you can walk away from today, it's being validated on how you feel about a situation. And that can be so empowering. Because I walked away going, wow, someone that doesn't know me has been able to tune in to my heart and my soul and know exactly how I feel. Gee whiz, I really needed that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just about that. It's not about the predictions.
Well, I think,
What about,
Glenda, oh, go on.
yeah,
That's
one more
fine.
thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever been jealous?
No, I don't think I have, but I
I
don't
I
tend to
have.
do it.
I have, and I'm going to explain and be real vulnerable here. Do you know where I am jealous?
Were you jealous?
I'm jealous in the way that I look at certain people, in the way that they speak, in the way they portray themselves. Um, like, let's just say, let's talk about our best friend Bill. I love the way he speaks. I love the way that he talks about mediumship, the way that he explains things. I love that. I wish I could speak like that. And sometimes I get jealous that I can't speak like that. But at the end of the day, I'm not a highly educated person that went to university, that has a degree, that blah, blah, blah. That's
No,
not
no,
me.
no.
That's not me. I'm a really grounded Aussie. I say what I feel. I tell you how I think. Um, I make it, I help you understand it in a really easy way. And I've got to go, you know what? There's nothing to be jealous about.
No,
That's them and this is you. But
absolutely.
that's where I get jealous. And
Mm.
sometimes I get jealous where I go, wow, I wish I could step out and do all of that. I wish I had the courage to do all of that. Like look at them go. But it's not jealousy, it's kind of envious. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah,
like I kind of go, oh, good on you, like I
yeah,
wish I could do that. But a side of me goes, why the fuck aren't you doing that?
yeah. No, I think I would be more on the side of being, I don't know if I envy people or so to put just an example on it, like when we talk about Teresa Caputo and not working like
We
her.
love Teresa.
Um,
Yeah.
and I've seen her live, and she was amazing. She was fabulous. Don't always
Mm.
agree with how she works, but what one thing I do admire about her is her confidence,
Yes,
and
that's
I
it.
think that's out of anything. I think that I would be jealous about if I was. Again, it's not being jealous about it because again we
No.
are who we are. But I wish I had her confidence
Yeah.
in knowing that whenever she does a reading, she's always going to get someone through or whatever it might be. And no, I look at other mediums, say like Bill, who is, I know he gets nervous bit backstage as we all do, but when he's on stage, he's that pure confidence, and that is me as
Mm.
well when I'm started talking. But I just think as a person, and I've not always been the most confident person in my life.
No.
So it's when I look at people like that, I go, well, I wish I had that confidence, and I wish I went into every single reading or demonstration feeling like I was a dog's bollocks. But I'm not.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess that's what I would say. And I always say to people, look, we can always look at other mediums and say, do you know what, Spirit? I'd like to maybe work like that or to receive information in that way, but I don't want to be that person. And I think that's the difference. If when you're looking at other mediums, and we all do it, I still do it. I still watch new mediums work, and no, and see how people do different things. And I never look at someone and say, I want to be like that, because that's
Yeah.
them. Like you're never going to be like anybody else. But
No.
you can say, well, maybe the next time I receive that evidence, I'd like to receive it this way or a similar way as how they did. And the spirit will work with you that way. So that's how I tend to look at things. So rather than looking at, I want to be that, do this, do that, I look at it as like, maybe I could work like that. Maybe that's the thing in my development, is to receive things that way or symbolically that way or whatever it might be, but never like I want to be like that person, because that's never going to happen.
Yeah, that's right.
So
We're
that's
all
how I look at
unique.
it.
We all work differently. I can't work like Bill and I can't work like you because I'm different. We might
Exactly.
have we might work similar in the certain ways that we do
Yeah.
it, but we're all going to be different.
Yeah,
Same
absolutely.
as we're all going to teach differently.
Mm. Yeah.
I can give we can have the same module and we can teach it differently. Do you know what I mean? We're
Mm.
all going to
Yeah.
teach in our own different style, and
Yeah.
that it comes down to the individual. So if you're out there and you're, hearing this and you're thinking, oh, I'm not that good, or that's, don't worry. Just be you, do it
Yeah,
your
exactly.
way,
Yeah.
and it'll all fall into place. Everything falls into place. Somehow it does.
Mm.
No matter what, it does fall into place. So just trust the process. That's the
Yeah.
hardest bit, is trusting the process.
It is, yeah, because sometimes you want everything now and not want to
Yeah,
wait for it, which is a little bit like me actually. Just in life in general, I want it now. I don't want to wait a week for that delivery. I want it tomorrow.
that's
That kind
right.
of thing. But yeah, no, it is. You're right. It's trusting the process and that things fall into place when they need to. Yeah,
Yeah. All in divine timing, like they say.
that's it. That's it.
So there you go.
There you go. And I think there's probably, we've been talking for a long time. I don't know how long we've been on here, but um, let's finish it there, Glenda. I think we've talked quite a
Yeah.
lot here about the topics today. I hope it's been insightful for people. But people, yeah, thank you very much for sticking with this episode. It's been quite a long one. I don't really want to split into two, because we had comments
Mm.
last time about the first episode being too short. So I think only because we split it. So you're getting the full length version of this episode now. So yeah, so do keep listening, people. Do keep following us on our podcast journey. As you said earlier on, we've got some great guests lined up, and we are still booking guests in as well. So
Yeah.
so do keep listening. And as
And
always,
I,
Glenda,
I
it's been a pleasure.
absolutely. And I have to have one little thing where I say a big shout out to Jason. This is Jason that I met in Newcastle at a wedding, that follows my page, and he's been listening to the podcast. So, Jason from Newcastle, this is for you. And yes, I'm told, David, that you think he's a cutie. So, there you go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, because I look like shit today. But thank you very much, everyone. As always, do stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us in the Spirit Lounge today. We hope you enjoyed the discussion.
Yes, and if there's a spiritual topic you'd like us to discuss, or if there's a spiritual question you'd like our input into, then please send those topics and questions to us at glenda-marie1@hotmail.com, and we will get to them as soon as possible.
Lastly, if you could like and share this podcast, as well as leaving us a comment or review about what you thought, then that would really help us out, and we'd be very grateful.
We would indeed. But it's bye from me.
And it's bye from me.
Join us again soon in the Spirit Lounge.